Hello everybody, welcome to this video in these very special circumstances. I hope everybody is doing okay. I hope all your relatives are doing okay, and if not, I really do hope with my whole heart that they will get better very, very soon. You will notice now that the setup is a little bit different than my usual videos. The reason for that is the whole world basically being in quarantine. Some of us have to work from home remotely, and that's what my boyfriend is actually doing. He is actually working in the living room, and I didn't really feel comfortable doing all this, bothering him with all my material and everything and speaking out loud next to him while he's trying to focus and actually get some work done. For those of you who don't know, we both work at the same company. We're actually in the animated feature film industry, and we have a movie to get out and finish as soon as we can, and he's basically on a mission with a couple of the guys to actually finish the movie from home. So please cross your fingers for them, and I hope that you will go see this movie. I might talk a little bit more about this afterwards. But for now, we are here for the plants, aren't we? Fortunately enough, I have plants pretty much laying everywhere in the flat, so it was not too hard to make some kind of Planty looking thing going on here, and I hope it will be okay for you for the next couple of videos, because I'm most likely going to shoot everything from here. And we are all in this together, and right now the best we can do, according to authorities, is to stay home and just try to not spread it to each other. So let's talk like this, shall we? That's how we're gonna do it now. Since most of you are homeschooling some of your kids, I think at least in France now the schools are closed, so all the schooling program is done through videos done by the teachers, and the kids basically have to stay home, and the parents have to try to make sure that they get anything done. And I know that, you know, keeping ourselves adults busy is very hard already when you're being quarantined for that long period, and I think it's even worse when you have kids. I don't have kids. All I have that is remotely close to a kid is a cat, and she is laughing at us right now because we can't handle quarantine, and she's like, this is pretty much my whole life all the time, so karma. So I can't imagine having a couple of 5, 6 or 7 years old wandering around in the flat. So I thought, to entertain your kids, there was kind of something that we could do here. And the video of today is going to be about nice Planty projects that you can do from home with whatever you have. It won't require you to go to a plant shop buying anything, hopefully. I'm going to try to show you ways that maybe you can do a little biology project with your kids or for yourself by regrowing some of the foods and vegetables that you have at home. Hopefully, I do hope that you have some at home, otherwise this whole video is going to be pointless to you and you can just skip and go watch Fortnite or whatever. All you will need is any kind of container, soil, and some fruits or vegetables that you eat in your everyday life while being at home. That's pretty much all you're going to need, and a window with a little bit of light. You're good to go. The idea came to me, as I said, I work in the movie/TV series entertainment thing, which can be a pretty unstable work, as in you can find yourself with a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, and then sometimes a year or two without any work, depending on how many projects there is around the world. So what happened to me is that I found myself without work for a couple of months, and I sowed seeds of the things that I was chopping, and I thought, could this grow? Because I've always heard that all the vegetables and the fruits that we buy from the supermarkets are made to be sterile, as in some of them are not even meant to be able to germinate at all, and if they are, they're not supposed to be able to produce fruit. And I was like, I don't know, can they? I mean, do you always trust everything that people tell you? So just try it and you'll see. I put some seeds aside, you know, an avocado seed, a mango seed, some pepper seeds, a lettuce, celery, you know. think there's a point where there was a leak involved as well in this project. I just started to try to grow them back, and I thought, well, you know what, even if they can't produce flowers or fruits, if they grow, they are free plants, basically. You know, they are free green plants, so you can just put everywhere in the flat, and if they die, it's not such a big of a deal, because actually they didn't really cost you anything. I mean, they cost you the price of the fruit in the supermarket or in your farmer's market or whatever, but you didn't actually go to a plant shop and spend 10 extra euros to buy the plant from which the fruit that you just ate came out. So it's pretty much like trying to have a free plant, basically. And I thought that this situation could be good for the kids, because you know what, it doesn't really cost anything, and if it fails, it's okay, because those plants were for free and your kids got to do little things with their hands and keep busy for a while. So, you know, I'm hoping that this is hopefully gonna help you keep them entertained. So for this project, the point of this is that you don't have to go out and buy anything. So as for the containers, you can use jars. This is like an old olive jar that I keep around just for water propagating or anything, but this can be used as a mini terrarium, but like really mini, or you just put soil up to there, and then we'll just plant our seeds there. If you're like me and you tend to keep your, when you go to a plant nursery and you buy the plant, and you actually tend to repot the plant in a bigger pot, which is pretty much what I do. I know that usually you have to wait for the whole plant to get acclimated and everything, but I tend to not be patient enough and not wait for a whole 3 months or whatever. If I think the plant is not comfortable enough in the pot, if there are roots coming out of everywhere, why not? Why wait? Honestly, why wait? Just replant it. So what happens after that is that you end up with a couple of containers left that you just keep around to, just in case, because something like that might just happen. You might find yourself in quarantine and have to plant many things. I'm so glad right now, because my boyfriend is so pissed all the time that I keep all this junk around, and now I'm like, I can actually use it. So, I was right. So you can see that I have many pot size. Whatever size you have will do, honestly. The bigger, the smallest containers are actually good for seedlings, because they, you can have a lot of them laying there, and then each seed is isolated from each other. And so if you want to actually eventually take the little plant from the seedling and repot it in a bigger pot, it's easier to do that when each plant and each seedling were separated from the beginning, rather than having them in one big container and then all the roots gets mixed with each other, and then it's much harder to get them out safe to replant them for the summer. But you know what, for now I think any container will do, honestly. Even a massive container, for even something like this will do. You can just use one of these big things. If you have a lot of soil, you can use one of these big toy plastic container thing and just do all your seedlings in there. That will do as well. And actually it's a good way to have everything in one place in front of the window, and things might not get as messy as if you have several different containers. Especially with kids, they might spill everything, accidents might happen. So the bigger the container, the less likely they are to just push them around and everything falls down. So maybe if you have very small kids that tend to be rough with each other, a bigger container is probably very good for you as well. You can use old yogurt terracotta pots. That's a brand that we have in France. I know that you might have them in America as well. They're very cute actually, because they're very decorative. They always have stuff written on them. See? I actually used to buy only this brand of yogurts just to keep all the containers, and then plant my little seedlings in there. And once everything is sprouted, I actually used to put some white flowers in there for the summer or the spring, and then they would die off. But you know, when this is actually full of flowers, it's super, super cute. So if you have some flower seedlings and you have containers like this looks very, very cute in the end. Or any kind of jar pot actually. And same as the olive pot, this can be used for as a mini closed terrarium. You just have to poke some holes in there and for some air circulation, and you're good to go. Or if not, you just use this as a plain container that you fill up with soil, and same old, same old. There is only one case where you are actually gonna need not wide per se, but very deep container, and that is if you're growing potatoes. See, some of you might have some potatoes that are actually starting to germinate because, you know, you probably stocked up and you probably bought too many, as many of us did, and some of them end up sprouting inside of the cupboard or wherever you're storing them. And this is actually good. This is a potato that you can plant pretty soon. So if you're planning on doing this little experiment with potatoes, what you're gonna need is something deep, and I mean not 1 meter down deep. I've done this experiment before, and I know that with this container it works. It kind of works. I'm not really sure how tall it is, but you can see like this is at least a bit taller than my head, so it needs to be a little bit deep because the thing is with potatoes, there are tuberculous, which means that yes, they spread out and they shoot out a little bit of vines or plants, but the fruit actually, well, the vegetable actually doesn't come out of this plant directly. It comes out from the roots, and tuberculous means that the vegetables are grown underground actually, and then you have to dig up to get them and eat them or replant them or whatever. So you're gonna need a pot that is at least deep enough for your potato to just spread the roots and allowing the potato to actually multiply and make some more baby potatoes somewhere there. So what you're going to want to do is plant the potato around here. You cover it with soil, and then as the roots develop and spread, there will be some baby potatoes. So that's the only vegetable that if you're planning on doing it, you're going to need a deep enough container. Otherwise, if you have any of the containers I said, a bit of soil, some light, you're good to go. You're good to go. You're very good to go. Which vegetables and fruits am I talking about? I'm talking about anything that's in your fridge or in your fruit basket. Honestly, it can go from apple seeds, pear seeds, some lemon seeds, even passion fruit seeds. I have some example of some that I've been growing, and they've been growing very good during the winter under my grow lights. Tomato seeds. Now, for the tomato seeds, I'm not really sure. Because what I've seen is a method that I've never actually tried. What I do for my tomato is I buy them, you know, as a seedling packet from the plant shops. But what I've seen that you can do is chop the tomatoes in slices, and then you put the slices on top of the soil, and then you cover them a little bit, and then you water them. And as the flesh of the tomato rots, the seeds are getting deeper in the ground, and then they germinate. I've heard that works. I will not have an example of this method working, but I know that you can do it. Sorry, burps. You can do that with onions. You can do this with garlic, pepper seeds, avocado seeds, mango seeds. What else did I try? Lettuce, leek, celery, basically anything with seeds. Even a flower that does some seedling, I'm going to show you an example. There are some that are actually easy enough to grab. Now, this is a flower from, we call them winter roses. I'm not really sure what the exact name is, but they do these flowers during the winter, and then as the flower dies off, the inside is getting bigger and bigger, and these are actually pockets. These are actually pockets where there are some seeds, and you just crack them open and you have a lot of seeds to go. So, wait, I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you, but this is open right here. I'm not really sure if you're gonna be able to see it, but this little bucket is cracked open and there's seeds inside. So what you can do if you have any winter roses is when they get to that big, you just cut the flower, because the flower is dead. It's just the plant trying to survive and propagate itself. Basically, what these are going to do at some point is just open themselves, and the seeds are going to drop around the plant, and they're going to go in the ground, and then, you know, that's the way that the plant is propagating itself. So you might as well cut them, keep the seeds, and just repot them wherever you want them to be. You can do that. As I said, I started being in the whole plant thing with these kind of experiment, and what I haven't stopped doing ever since is just collecting seeds. You know, they are free plants, they're basically free seeds, and you don't have to feel so bad about kind of abandoning it at some point, because they actually didn't really cost you anything. See what I mean? I mean, if you want to keep them alive, you will be able to keep them alive. I mean, they're not just gonna die on you just because they have to, but if you're this kind of person who just wants to try stuff every once in a while and having an experiment with your kids while the quarantine lasts, shall we say, then if your kids get bored and they don't want to keep up with the garden, then, you know, you let them die, and that's okay. But so here is examples of seeds that I've collected through the years. Sorry, it's a bit messy. I have some butternut seeds. They have proven to be very successful in the past. Every year I grow some of them, and then they vine up, and then I attach them to a grid that I've set up around my window, and then it's like a vining plant that just goes all around the window, and then they make you tiny little fruits that I've never been able to eat. I have one that I have kept since Halloween, because I chopped it off. The plant was dying, so I chopped the little baby butternut out, and I still have it in my fruit basket. What else do I have in my little treasure basket? Melon seeds, apple seeds. Honestly, all the seeds that I told you that I had that you could get, I kind of gathered them inside of this one basket. I have pepper seeds. I don't know if you're going to be able to say that without spelling. There's pepper seeds there. Every time, honestly, you're good with just one pepper. If you chop one pepper and you just, with the knife, you gently take out all the seeds, you set them aside, you put them on a kitchen towel, you let them dry a little bit, and then you put them in the pot, and then you just cover it, take a rubber band, and you just close it. What else do I have? I have many things. Very interesting. These are the passion fruits that I got from last summer. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but see, that's what a passion fruit grain looks like. So if you eat passion fruits, you can kind of sacrifice half of it, and you just basically put all the flesh on a kitchen towel, and you just squish everything together so that the kitchen towel absorbs all of the humidity of the flesh, and then you just try to pick up the seeds, clean them in a bowl of water, put them in on another kitchen towel, and then you let it dry, and then you try to clean the seeds as good as you can, and then in your little container, seal it, and voila! I think if you have any of these laying around, you're good to go. I will show you results of, and possibly pictures of progress of an avocado seed and a mango seed, but I will anyway walk you through the process of how to make it germinate, because they are super easy. Trust me, I have many of them laying around. I used to have some at my workplace, but since I haven't been there for 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure everything there is dead. So I will have to regrow them again. But I have pictures of them, and I have pictures of the process, so I will put them along with all the rest of the video. So now that we have gathered all our material, what do we do? What do we do? Well, very easy. When you have your container, you fill it up with soil. Back with the container. You have your container, you fill it up with soil, and up till there. Make sure that the soil in there is humid enough, not damp, humid. Like, I mean, you don't wanna feel like there's water, literally, that your soil is basically floating inside of water. That is too much. Okay, if your kid does that and says, look mommy, look what I did, and then you have a pile of soil that's just floating around and you have this much water, that's not good. That's not good. You tell him that he's cute or she's cute, but you have to do it again. Okay, so what you want is soil that is moist. I know that being moist is a very subjective concept, but you see what I mean, right? I mean, if you have ever watered a plant before, if you have water coming out from everywhere and the soil is still wet after a whole week, then you know you watered it too much. So it's a bit kind of the same. You just put a little bit of water in the soil, but you don't want too much. You just want the soil to basically get a little bit darker than the usual color, but you don't want it to get full black. If you get your brown soil to look black, very, very, very dark brown, it probably means that you've put too much water and you have more risks of the seeds or the roots rotting. So that's why you don't really want that. So once you have all this set up, you just take your fingers, you go about 1 knuckle deep in there, click, 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 and then you just put your little seeds in there and you recover them and you put them on the side of your window and you just try to keep it as warm as you can, and you just wait for it to grow. Now, another thing that you can do is using either kitchen towel or a de-makeup cotton round thing. You moist it with a spray. You put a little bit of water on it, just enough so that it feels, like moist, as in if you were too hot, you would just put some water on it and just do this to refresh yourself. Basically, that's how moist you want it to be, not more. You can dump the paper, but make sure that you squeeze it really hard before putting anything in it. Otherwise, same old, it's going to be too wet and everything is going to rot and your experiment has less chances to be successful. You can damp all these. You can, if you have the round cotton bud, you can try to gently crack it open. And then same old, you put it in the water, and then you put it in the water, you squeeze it to get all the excess of water out of your way, and you just reset it, and then you put your seeds like this in the paper towel. You close it, you make sure that this is a bit squeezed, and then using an old Tupperware that you have, this is an old takeaway plastic container that I still have, you just put it in there, close it, and now after this you need to keep it in a dark place that is still warm enough for the seeds to feel like it's growing season, so they will germinate. And the point of sealing everything is to retain the humidity, hence why it needs to not be damp, because otherwise there's going to be way too much humidity and you're going to have mold growing in there. So you just want it to be moist, close it, it retains the humidity, keep it warm, keep it in a dark place, and it will germinate. And once you just open the Tupperware every once in a week, I would say. Or if your kids are not busy, just check it every now and then, just to make sure that the air renews itself when you open the lid. Just make sure that the air is renewing when you open the lid, and then you unfold the kitchen paper, and every now and then you see if it's cracking up open. I think this process is actually funnier for kids because you can actually see the whole process of the seed cracking, the little root coming out, and then the little baby plant starting to unfold. And then when you have this little baby plant unfold, you can just gently take all of the seeds, and then you start your process as previous. You put soil in the container, you dig little knuckle deep holes, and then you put your little opened seedling in there, and then same old, you put it next to the window so the plant can still have plenty of light to carry on growing. And actually, I think any transparent thing is actually funnier for kids, because then when the plant survives and grows, you can actually see all the roots develop most of the time. So I guess this is actually very funny for kids to see that as well. For avocados, what you're gonna need is the following. You're gonna need a glass container or a plastic transparent container, or actually any kind of container, even if it's opaque. That will do. Transparent glass one is actually better in the sense that it's easier to see if the seed of the avocado is cracking up open at the bottom, and then seeing how far along the root is without having to pull it up every time, because that's never good for a plant. If you have to manipulate a seed too often, you might crack the roots, and then you have to start all over again. And avocado seeds, I need to warn you, avocado seeds are very long to crack open, at least here in our climate. The one I have, it took them, I think, a month, even more than a month sometimes, to crack open. So you have to keep an eye on it, and having a transparent container helps you to check if there is rot, if the water needs to be cleaned. Any kind of problem is easier to foresee if your container is transparent. So what you're gonna do is put water up till there, like not to the top, because then when you put the seed, everything is going to flow out anyway. But so you put your water around here. You just take your avocado seed, you make sure that there is none of the flesh left around the seed. You make sure you clean it very well, because otherwise this will rot on top of the seed, and then it's more likely to damage the seed, and then everything is going to rot and the experiment will not be successful. So that will be a shame. Then what you're going to need is little barbecue sticks to actually pop them inside of the seed. What I suggest is to pop at least 3 sticks all around the avocado, and then you just put your seed in there and you maintain it stable in the middle of the jar, with at least half of the avocado seed inside of the water. And then you just keep it in a sunny place or warm place, and you just let it slowly crack it open. And then when it's open, and when the root is actually, I would say, about this deep, and it's actually quite well cut in half, you can just remove it. You can even leave the sticks if you want, because they will end up rotting away. So there's no problem about this. If they are wooden sticks, you'll be fine. You don't even need to cut them when you replant it. You just take everything, dig a hole, gently put it in the hole, because you don't want to break the root, and you just cover it up and it will just grow. And this is actually such a fun tree to see growing. I will insert footage of what mine looks like. I think we've had it for 2 years now. I've lost many avocado trees last summer because they lost the battle to a mold / mushroom. I'm not really sure what that was. This thing was like out of this world. It was flashy yellow. I have never seen this before, but it just took away, I think, 2 or 3 of my avocado trees in the battle. But the one that remains is doing strong and good, and I'm gonna make sure that it still does this summer. And this is actually super fun for kids to see, because it grows really tall and the leaves can get so big, and it's just exciting. Every day that you wake up, you see some evolution. It's so cool. It's so cool. Actually, baby plants are very exciting, much more than old plants, in the way that there are changes almost every day. So it's very exciting every time you wake up, and you know there is going to be a new little leaf, or it will have grown 1 inch bigger or whatever, and you can actually see it. With all the plants, it's harder to see because they're already very big. So any kind of tiny change, it looks like it takes forever to see. You know what I mean? Like, you can get a new very big leaf, and that's exciting, but it's not the same as seeing a little baby just growing and becoming a plant. So I think that will be fun for kids. What else do we have? Mango seeds. The mango seeds is actually very easy, although I would not advise you to let your kids do it by themselves. The reason for that is, so you chop off your mango and you keep the seeds. Now, when you have the seed, the real seed that will actually grow a tree is inside of the pocket, the fibrous pocket that you have once you've eaten the fruit. And that's where you need to be an adult to do that. Kids, don't do that on your own. If you want to do this experiment, ask your parent to do this step for you. What you will need is to clean the seed, dry it really well, because because mango seeds tend to be a bit slippery when they are humid, if you see what I mean. So what I usually do is that I cover half of the seed with cloth, a kitchen cloth, and you just hold it really hard, and then you're gonna need a knife, and it's gonna be pretty much like cracking open an oyster. You're gonna want to try to get the knife in the line that goes all the way around the seed, which is, you know, the sign that this is a pocket. You can just crack it open, and then the seed is gonna be in there. So you're gonna want to hold this very, very tight. You take the knife and you gently work your way in between those two parts. You don't want to go too deep, because if you go too deep, you might actually reach the real seed and you're going to damage it, and then there is a risk that you damage the part where the plant needs to come from, and therefore the seed is going to be unviable, and then you're going to have to try it again. So you gently take a knife, you go a little bit around, and you try to, you know, you move the knife around to crack this pocket open, and when the hole is big enough, you can actually just crack it the same way that you do for an oyster. Basically, it's basically like opening an oyster, except that it's a mango seed, and then inside there's the seed, which is going to look like a huge bean. So once this is done, you can give the seed to your kid. And then it's the same process. I use the same process as the second process for the seed. In terms of what I do is I wrap the mango seed inside of a wet kitchen paper, and then I put it inside of this kind of Tupperware, and I put it in a hot place, and you wait maybe a week. You open the lid like maybe once or twice during this week. Sorry, my battery died and I lost some footage and I had to do some backup. So the light is going down, so I'm gonna have to make this quick. So basically we stopped at the part where, sorry, there was somebody who closed their window and there was like a huge flashlight in my room. Now the mango seeds tend to rot a little bit more than the other ones I found. Actually, that's my experience. So you want to open the little Tupperware like maybe twice a week for fresh air to come in and for, you know, all the moisture to kind of get out, and then the seed creates its own moisture again. And then very much like the avocado, you check it maybe once a week, and in 2 or 3 weeks time, 2 weeks time maybe. I know this is kind of a long-term project, but who knows how much longer we're going to be in quarantine. So and either way, this is a fun spring and summer project, so yeah, you might actually enjoy it even after the quarantine. So after 2 weeks you must see some results, at least something, a little root popping out, at least from one side of the bean. So same as the avocado, once you get big enough root and a little bit of the plant actually starting to open up as well, then you're good to go. You can just stick it in the soil, cover it up, make sure the part of the plant that's sprouting is facing up to the light. Otherwise it's going to be harder for it to find its way and it might fail. I'm not really sure. Just try to make it look upright, basically. And last but not least, you can also do that with pineapples. Now, pineapples are actually super easy. You just take the fruit, you grab the crown full of leaves on top of the fruit, and you gently rotate in different directions, in opposite directions, until the crown of leaves actually pop out. And then you put the fruit aside, you do whatever it is you want to do with it, I don't know. And then you're left with the crown of leaves. What you want to do is cut the bottom part of the head that was in contact with the fruit, because there is a higher chance of rotting if you put that in water. So you want to chop that off, let it dry a little bit, and meanwhile you remove a few layers of the bottom leaves. you just actually remove them. Like you just the same way you would do with a flower, you know, the he loves me not. You do the same with the leaves. You just pop them out. I would say maybe 3-4 layers. You work your way up, and then very much like the avocado, you stick your barbecue sticks in there, 3 of them for more stability. And then once again, you take a transparent container to foresee whatever wrong that might happen, or even to see the roots growing, because that's always fun. You just sit it on top of the water. You need to make sure that the bottom part that you just removed the leaves from is actually immersed inside of the water, and then you put it in a warm, sunny place. I would say sunny place because pineapples actually need a lot of sun, so that will always help to have a lot of sun, as much as possible anyway. And you should see results after a week or 2, I would say, or maybe 2-3 weeks. It really depends on where you're living, but I know that for my pineapples it took 2 weeks, I believe, and voila, you're all set for your little seedling project. That was actually a lot of vegetables and seedlings that we went through. I hope this will keep your kids busy enough for you to breathe and entertain them. If not, I will always come up with some other projects. So that's it. That concludes this video. The sun is setting now, and I hope I am still, you know, okay on camera. I had a lot of fun doing this video. It was a lot of information to take in, I know, but I really wanted to make this video. I believe there's never been a better time to do this kind of things. I hope I've helped you parents to keep your kids busy and teach them a little bit about nature. I hope that you're going to enjoy doing these projects with them or on your own, as I did 3 years ago when I started, and I had a lot of fun. And my apartment was starting to look into a little farm, and I loved it. So I hope you're gonna have a lot of fun doing this too. And please, I would be very curious to see how this experiment goes. So don't hesitate to DM me on Instagram or to tag me. I'm gonna put my Instagram handle here because it's all in French, and there's no point for me saying it out loud because you will have pretty much no clue how to spell it, I think. So I'm just gonna write in there. Don't hesitate to tag me on the videos of the makings, of the results. Keep me updated. Did your kids like it? Did you like it? Did you find other methods that were proved to be more efficient, maybe? Because I don't know everything. I'm just a hobbyist here, and I'm just trying to, you know, share some fun ideas to keep everybody busy. So yeah, if you like this video, also don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much if you're gonna subscribe. Thank you very much for people who have already subscribed. Don't forget to put a thumbs up or thumbs down. That helps me to know if you liked it or not. Thumbs down will break my heart, I'm not gonna lie, but it's, as long as it comes with, you know, helpful criticism, it's okay. You know, we'll make good and bad videos. It's okay, that happens. I had a lot of fun making this. I hope you're okay. Please stay at home, stay safe, and keep in touch with your loved ones. And I will see you hopefully pretty soon. Bye bye.